Hello, here we are on Claydon Farms, and today I'm going to talk to you about the TerraBlade. This is one of our fields of wheat here, and we sprayed it in the autumn with a pre-emergence chemical, but as always there's one or two of those pesky grassweed plants that manage to get past the chemicals, and today we're going to take them out with the TerraBlade. But along the way I'm going to do a series of clips to show you how to set the TerraBlade up and get the very best out of the TerraBlade to get rid of this pesky problem. And so we'll run through those settings in the following videos for you. So here we are, we've mounted the hoe onto the tractor. Now some very important points that you need to consider when you put it on the tractor. A lot of tractors on the front linkage have a power down on the link arms. You must disable that because the TerraBlade must be in float and be able to travel and follow the ground contours along the field. And it's mounted simply on the 3-point linkage. There are just two ports needed on the front for services, one to unfold the hoe and the other one to fold it up. So just two ports are needed to control the hoe and fold it and unfold. Once we put it onto the tractor, we set it so when it's in the lowered position, the headstock is running pretty square with the top link about 50% of adjustment. So you have room to shorten the top link and lengthen it to do some fine tuning. Once we put it onto the tractor and unfolded it, it's ready for use. So in our next clip, I'll lower the hoe down and you'll be able to see it in the lowered position. Here we've got the hoe in the working position on the front of the tractor, and we've lowered it down and it's absolutely right ready to go forward down the field. We locked the wings down using the hydraulic cylinder on the 2-section hoe. The 3-section hose float on the end, but the 2-section is held rigid. So it has a lock valve on here to hold that cylinder down and hold those wings firmly level on the ground. One of the important things is the headstock angle here should be virtually vertical when we start. That will put your top link in a virtually central position to give you more room for adjustment. So remember that, we'll come back to that in a moment. So what we have here now is the depth wheel on the front. You can see it's firmly on the ground here, and we make a measurement, and the standard setting is about 115 millimeters from the top of the bracket to the black plastic cap. That sets the height of this front beam, which is absolutely crucial. The height of the front beam here is about 320 millimeters, 325 off the ground. That's very, very important because that holds this spring at the right position to hold these blades flat onto the surface of the ground. So they're sitting very flat on the ground, and when we go forward they will ski through the top of the ground like a garden hoe and take those plants off at the growing crown. That's absolutely crucial. The spring controls the contours, and you can see here nicely how this one is down hard on the ground and this one's nearly 50 millimeters higher, and you can see the pressure on those springs holding those hoes onto the ground to be able to hoe those plants off. So once you've got it set like this, it's not going into the ground and cultivating the ground, it's actually skiing across the top, cutting all those plants off, and we'll show you some of that happening shortly. So that's the basic settings to set the machine up. Now what we can do is go into finer tuning. If we want more pressure because the ground is very, very hard, we can actually shorten the top link slightly, which will tend to pull the hoe down, reduce that little gap in there of 320 a little bit, but put lots more pressure on these blades to hold them firm against the ground to cut those plants off. So if you're in hard ground conditions, you have to put more pressure. If you're in soft ground conditions, you might need to lengthen the top link a bit to stop that hoe going too deep. So if you're in a cultivated field situation or you've done min-till, you'll find the soil is looser and you'll need less pressure. So this pressure adjustment holds that hoe perfectly on the surface of the ground. The angle of the hoe skis it through the top of the ground and takes those plants off. We can adjust the pressure further on the pin here by adjusting the pinholes. and that's on the 3-section hoe as well as the 2-section. You'll see there's a number of holes here, and you can keep adjusting it down until the point that the depth wheel doesn't travel consistently on the ground. Remember, no pressure from the linkage. It's got to float on the front and follow the ground contour. Once we've got it set like this, we're ready for action, and we can go into the field and hopefully take all those plants off. We'll show you the crop, the conditions next in the next video, and give you a bit of advice on how to set this hoe, whether you need more pressure, less pressure, and so forth. But it's a constant keeping the pressure on that blade to ski the surface to cut those plants off. It's crucial when you're hoeing to hoe in the right conditions. We all know that. Last week here, this soil and this tram line was set like concrete. Today, if I kick it, look, it's beautiful. It's got some movement. It's turned mellow. It had 4 millimeters of rain, that's all. And now it's absolutely brilliant hoeing conditions, whereas last week it's too hard and we wear lots of tines up, hose up because of the hard conditions. So what we're looking to do is, if you look down here in the plant, you see the rows, the bands from the drill, and in between the bands this is a couple of 3 blackgrass plants here which we want to take off. You can see they're in nice and firm in the ground, and the fact that they're firm is fantastic because that means that the hoe blades held down nice and solid will just decapitate them and take them out like this. And we'll show you the hoe running now and show you how it works, okay? As you can see, we've just gone past with the hoe, and you'll see those blackgrass plants that we were taking all now hoed off. I'll just stop the tractor and we'll have a little look at the result. So I'll just step out of the cab here and come along, and you can see the blackgrass plants there where the hoe's just taken them off between the bands. This crop will fill out, cover those rows up nicely. Just coming along here, you can see, just follow the hoe along, and you can see all of the little blackgrass plants we've removed here nicely. Not too much root on so that it can survive. They want to be taken off like that one. That's perfect. That one's still got a little bit of soil on, but he's probably a little bit deeper. And as we go up here, we've got even more. Another one there, look, that is absolutely perfect what we're trying to achieve. We're not trying to cultivate the whole ground and disturb the wheat roots. We're cutting these off at the top, doing a perfect job. And you can see here, if we come to the hoe, how the actual blades have chopped off any plants that have been between the rows. And that can sometimes include a few wheat plants if they've got out escaped. But you can see here, we've got an odd wheat plant. But most important, we've got these horrible blackgrass plants out. We've seen head numbers reduced later in the season by as much as 70%. So we're winning that battle about the seed going back. The most important thing is this plant has survived the chemicals. And because it survived the chemicals, its seed next time will be a bigger problem. So if we take it out with the hoe, we've then taken this resistant plant away, and it gives us a really good start to controlling this weed problem.